A very good evening, and thank you for joining us for the expanded and extended coverage of the National Assembly elections 2013. Sarah, it's nice to be with you here this evening. I know you've had a long day. We are coming to you live from KTV2 studios at the Ministry of Information. Live coverage began at 8 a.m. early this Ramadan morning with presenter Mr. Tariq Al-Aryan. First time I see him in a dishdasha, by the way. Up until about 1 p.m. Then Lul Waghaith took over up until about 5 p.m., followed by Farid Deshti, who just left us. Then now I'm here with Sarah Glob, who's bringing us the continuous live coverage of the National Assembly elections. Ahmed Makki, our compatriot, will be joining us also live in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And KTV2 will continue the live coverage of this year's election process up until the final official results are in and all the ballots have been counted. Furthermore, our compatriots, our teammates on KTV2, Mr. Mohsen Deshti, Fatma Bahzad, and others have been busy calling up VIP guests, analysts, and professors to help us explain the overall election process and Kuwait's democratic experience. The guests we were fortunate to have today earlier today were Sulaiman Al-Khudari, Fahad Al-Shlemi, Dr. Fatma Ayad, Dr. Maryam Al-Kandari, Dr. Saleh Al-Yasin, and Mr. Amir Al-Tamimi. Furthermore, the English News Department's correspondents, Ghanwa Jabouri, Hiba Abdurrahman, Salam Al-Ajmi, and Salam Mubarak, or Salam Al-Kandari, were stationed at the different constituencies and were reporting live to us and giving us first-hand feedback on what was going on in each and every constituency and reporting to us on the turnout of voters and of the overall ballot casting process under the extreme summer conditions, not to forget that we are also in the middle of the holy fasting month of Ramadan. Furthermore, my colleagues in the English News Department, Ahmed Ashkanani and Nadia Ali and others, in collaboration with our comrades at KTV2, have prepared the excellent reports, interviews, and documentaries that you have been watching all day long. The main objective of this collective teamwork is an attempt to convey to our expat and English-speaking viewers the Kuwaiti democratic experience and its intricacies. The democratic process in Kuwait is somewhat unique in its structure compared to other democratic processes around the world. The current new structure is based on dividing Kuwait into 5 constituencies, with eligible voters casting a single ballot for their representative of choice as compared to 4 ballots in previous elections. The 10 candidates with majority votes from each of the 5 constituencies will make up the 50-member National Assembly, the legislative branch of the government. The executive branch of the government will then be formed, comprised of ministers chosen by the Prime Minister. The hopes and aspirations of the Kuwaiti people is that both branches of the government, the legislative and executive, work together in harmony and with similar objectives and visions in order to develop Kuwait and help it achieve some of the goals and aspirations of its leader, His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jabr Sabah. This is a short, simple 2-minute brief on our democracy. I've actually had the opportunity to cast my vote early this morning. Actually, not so early. It was around 11 a.m. And I would like to share that experience with you, our viewers, and with Sarah as well. I belong to the first constituency. My voting station is in Salwa, not far from the Salwa Cooperative. I arrived to the station, as I said, at about 11 a.m. On this particular day, I decided to take my 2 young children and one of their cousins with me, thinking that this is a good opportunity for them to see how and where adults vote. I also wanted to try to instill in them the importance for a citizen to cast his or her vote. On the way to the voting station, I was bombarded with 1 million questions from my 9-year-old daughter and 13-year-old son. So, although I later found out that they were not allowed to go inside the voting premises, in a way the trip with the young upcoming adults served its purpose and then some, as I made sure to answer every single question they asked. Once there, though, the first thing that surprised me is the lack of the volunteers, the kids that carry the pamphlets and advertising brochures that they distribute to the voters and try to help their candidates win the vote. In previous elections, voters are usually bombarded with the final-minute appeals from these young volunteers to vote for their preferred candidate. I attributed the lack of volunteers to the new single-vote system, which is now in its second trial, as compared to the previous four-vote system, as most, if not all voters now, under the current single-vote scheme, go to the polling stations knowing exactly who they are going to vote for. My second observation today was that casting the ballot was the simplest and quickest procedure I had ever experienced. Maybe it was because of the time of day, the summer heat, or maybe because it was a Ramadan day, but I was delighted at how easy and quick it was, as I had to leave my children and their cousin near the front door. They were not allowed to go in. My appeals to the officials to let them in fell on deaf ears. I honestly wanted to educate my children on the voting responsibility and on how easy it is to cast a vote. I wish my own parents had been more vocal and paternal on this important responsibility. I'm ashamed to say that I only started voting in 2009, Sarah, when I could have been voting since I returned from college, my US education back in 1985. Voting is a right and it's a privilege, but I also like to call it voting is a national responsibility, because if you do not vote, you have wasted a vote, you have wasted an opportunity to help a qualified candidate from winning. And that's basically, in a few sentences, my experience today, my voting, my right to vote, my responsibility to vote today, Sarah.
Well, I mean, it's everybody has their unique story on election day. But I had a few queries when you were speaking, specifically about the children. Earlier, Farid and I were talking about how they're trying to lower the age, the voting age to 18 from 21. Mm-hmm. In Kuwait, the legal age to vote is 21 and above. So we were discussing the pros and cons, basically, of lowering the age group, and I mentioned that it was if they were to reduce it, then they would need to invest more in educating the youth on this responsibility, because they're still vulnerable at this age. What do you think your children learned the most out of today?
I try to instill in them, I'm hoping that what they learned from me today and what they learned from this short trip to the polling station, that it's an important responsibility. When you vote for somebody, it is important to look into their past and into their objectives once they become a member of the National Assembly. I think some of what I said made some sense to them.
Yeah.
Yes, some of it. But to me, it was important just to take them there and show them that your father is going to cast his vote. Mm-hmm. He's being responsible. Mm-hmm. And you need to do so as well. You need to be responsible when you grow up, when you become young adults. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the age limit, Sarah, I think that, especially now with the concentration, or let's say, stressing on the youth and how important they are to the future of Kuwait, I would wholeheartedly agree to lowering the age limit to 18. 18 years old anywhere in the world is an adult. I'm not sure about what the voting systems are in the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. But when you're 18, you're an adult. You need to learn independence. Mm-hmm.
And this is one major form
absolutely.
Of doing so.
Yes, it is.
And if you consider the demographics of the Kuwaiti population and the society, the youth constitute a large number of this population.
Especially here in Kuwait.
Especially that gap between 18 to 21, mm-hmm. that will increase the total eligible voters drastically.
Yes, it would.
Drastically. Considering the population here in Kuwait, let's say it's about 1 million, just over 1 million. There's only over 400,000 eligible voters. Mm-hmm. So that's not even half of the voters.
It would definitely increase the number of eligible voters, and we have been, putting our money, investing in the future of these mm-hmm. youth. I think. We are also, by the way, we are a relatively young democracy. Kuwait is.
Sure.
Our constitution has only been in existence since the 60s, early 60s. So we are relatively a young constitution, a young democracy, and we're trying to fine-tune it. You know, the feeling is that the government, the people of Kuwait, are keen to fine-tune to make the best out of our democracy. So this is worth a try.
Oh, definitely.
So.
I mean, even if once it's been fine-tuned, times will change over the next 50 years. So it would have to be fine-tuned and further developed again. There's no perfect system.
Absolutely,
and there's
yes.
no, you know, okay, we've reached the peak. This is how it's going to be for the end of time. There's no such thing. And you have to consider as well the way that it's shifted, you know. They've tackled the constituencies. They were 10 and then 25 and now 5. They've tackled the number of votes that
That's
each
right.
person
That's
can,
right.
can
As
use.
you can see, it's slowly being fine-tuned.
Exactly, it's evolving. It's we're learning from our
mistakes.
And we're trying to remove the negative traits of that sometimes stick to it throughout the years. So I think Kuwait is on the right path to doing so. What is your opinion on the one-vote system?
I'm all for it, you know, but just to go back to what you were saying about the youth, you know, I've mixed with some of the Kuwaiti youth. I've talked to some of the Kuwaiti youth. They're amazing. Some of them are amazingly talented. They're amazingly creative and very, very well educated, well traveled. You know, this is one of the
Definitely
really the positives of the Kuwaiti youth. You know, I mean,
we're going now to the
ballot
we're getting
counting.
some initial results here. There's Adil Al-Khrafi with 585 from the 2nd constituency. There's Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem with 533 votes so far. Riyad Ahmed Al-Adsani with 463. Rakin Yusuf Al-Nasf with 432. Ali Fahad Al-Rashid, former National Assembly Speaker, with 253. Auda Al-Ruwai'i with 246. Muhammad Abdullah Abdel Jadir with 230. Abdul Rahman Saleh Al-Jiran with 227 and 8th place. In 9th place, we have Adnan Ibrahim Al-Mutawwa with 225. And in 10th place, we have Hamad Saif Al-Harshani with 175. In 11th, we have Abdul Rahman Muhammad Al-Nassar with 170. Also in 11th, we have Ahmad Haji Lari with 170. In 12th, we have Khalaf Dmeithir Al-Anazi. And those are the candidates that have received the top number of votes in the 2nd constituency. So we've received initial results from the 2nd, the smallest constituency out of the 5 in Kuwait. We were discussing the youth earlier before they announced those initial results.
Yes, I was just saying about...
I had a few more questions as well.
Go ahead.
Your children still have a few years before they can exercise their national duty and vote.
Train them young
for their representatives. Exactly. How would you coach them to be on the right path? First, is this the first time they come to a polling station?
My son Ali came with me the last time. Sarah, it's the first time, and her cousin also. It was the first time.
And they're all under 15 years old.
My son is 13. Sarah is 9, and her cousin is, I believe, 12 or 13.
I think this is a perfect age.
Absolutely, yes.
To start, and with your son as well, to reinforce and continue to remind. Yeah, could you tell me what different things do you feel like watching them? How would you coach them? In what ways?
Well, you know, I mean, I don't want to go into the details of what I want or not want from our society, but you know, whatever I feel that they should be coached, I will coach them. One of the important things is the acceptance of others. You have to accept other people's views. You are never perfect.
Sure.
No one is perfect. It's very important to have balance. This I always try to coach my son, is to always have balance. Acceptance of others, honesty, the education is the most important thing for the development of a nation. And education never ends. We as adults are getting educated daily.
Oh, sure.
We learn new things every day. The computer, the internet, these are all relatively new issues to our society, and we're learning new things every day. Twitter was not available just a few years ago. This is all these are new issues. Anyway, back to the counting. Go ahead. First constituency now.
Constituency.
We have the second place, Kamel Mahmoud Al-Awadi with 568 votes. Faisal Saud Dwaysan with 524, and third. Isa Ahmed Al-Kandari, 512 votes in the first constituency, which is my constituency, by the way. Yusuf Sayyid Hassan Al-Zalzala with 512 in fourth. In fifth, Abdullah Muhammad Al-Taraji with 495 votes. Saleh Ashur in sixth place with 434. Abdullah Yusuf Al-Rumi in seventh with 391. Abdul Hamid Abbas Dashti with 388 votes in eighth place. Ma'souma, the only lady in this division, in this constituency, by the way.
There's two females.
317 in ninth place. Khalid Hussein Al-Shatti in 10th with 268. Ahmed Mehsen Al-Shatti. We're going back now to the second constituency.
Yeah, these are other candidates that received.
Marzouk Al-Ghanem is in
now
first.
We're first, yeah, with 887. Now second.
Second, Adil Al-Khrafi with 886. Riyad Al-Adsani in third with 791. Rakan Yusuf Al-Nasf with 665 votes in fourth. Abdul Rahman Saleh Al-Jiran in fifth with 531 votes. Ali Fahd Al-Rashid in sixth with 511 votes. Auda Al-Ruwa'i in seventh with 372. Muhammad Abdullah Al-Abdul Jadir in eighth with 357. Adnan Ibrahim Al-Mutawwa in ninth with 335. Hamad Saif Al-Harshani in 10th with 315. Khalil Ibrahim Saleh in 11th with 305. And Ahmed Haji Lari in 12th with 265. And in 13th, Khalaf Maithil Al-Nazi with 227. The top 10 get to represent their citizens in the National Assembly.
Yes, each of the 5 constituencies elect 10 members to make up the 50-seat member parliament or the National Assembly here in Kuwait. The number of candidates in the first constituency during the registration process was 51 with 2 females, whereas in the second constituency there was...
Who's the second female, by the way? Do you have the name? I have the names, but I didn't bring the paper with me. But you're sure, yeah? You're sure it's 2 females?
Sure, yeah, there's 2 females. There's 8 females in total.
Yes.
There's 2 in the first, 3 in the third, and 3 in the fifth. The fourth and second have no female candidates.
That's sad.
And we were speaking about that a little earlier, Farid and I.
I did listen to you.
The second constituency is one of the more is the more liberal one out of
which means you should see more women.
Whereas the fifth is the more conservative. So you
strange.
Yeah, I mean it's encouraging, to say the least, especially in the fifth, knowing that such a conservative area has managed candidate. 3. Yeah, it's quite remarkable for me.
But still, the representation
it's disappointing for the second.
It's disappointing overall. 3% out of the total candidates.
There's 311 candidates vying.
And only 8 women.
8 females, yeah.
That's
but
very,
you have to,
very
I mean,
sad.
This year there's a huge number of candidates as well running for the election process. But you also have to consider that females haven't had much time
They have.
in
Since
no,
2005, I think that's plenty of time.
they've
I believe, even though I am...
They don't receive support from various parts, NGOs,
They should
for
receive
example,
support from their own
companies.
the women who are the majority of voters in Kuwait.
It's
lack of education, in my opinion.
It is, and it's a mindset as well that has to develop to realize that women deserve the same equal footing as men.
They balance a man. A woman balances man.
And to be honest,
so important to have
we were at the election registration headquarters at the Ministry of Interior, the Election Affairs Department, and it was more common to find the women speak English, for example, when we interviewed them, than it were for the males. Out of those 8 females, they all spoke English. Out of the 311 males, very little spoke English.
Which I have more to, we're going to go back to the ballot counting. We are in the third constituency now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they haven't counted the votes for Adil Isa Al-Yahya yet. First place was Faisal Al-Shaya. Second place Ali Saleh Al-Amer. Third place Khalil Abdullah Ali with 369 votes. And fourth, Rodan Abdul Aziz Al-Rodan, 325 votes. In fifth place, Safa, well done Safa. Safa Al-Hashim in 284 votes.
She was bound to do well though. She's a very popular.
Jamal Al-Umar with 229 votes. Abdul Karim Al-Kandari with 201 votes in seventh. Nabil Nouri Al-Fadl in eighth with 184 votes. In ninth, Ali Abdullah Al-Khamis with 174 votes, and thank you guys for the large monitor. It's very helpful. In ninth place, Yaqub Abdul Muhsin Al-Sana with 174 votes. Basil Jasser Al-Jasser, 170 votes in 10th. This is Kadhim Khaja, by the way, the director of Kuwait TV, KTV2. Abdul Aziz Mohammed Al-Samhan, 166 votes.
Very good.
We suffered the last election, the monitor was so small we couldn't read it. Osama Yusuf Al-Tahous in 12th with 145 votes. Ahmed Abdul Muhsin Al-Mlayfi in 13th with 144 votes. And 14th goes to Yusuf Abdul Hamid Al-Sagr with 136 votes. Now those are initial numbers which will change and develop and increase, and there will be name changes, name variations as we go on. But these are initial figures. It's still very early.
It is, yeah.
It seems like the system is being perfected as we go. We've had so many elections in the past 3-4 years.
I mean, even so, you could tell they readjusted the tally for the second constituency within a few minutes, and there was a big difference in the votes that each candidate received.
Fine-tuning process.
But it's nice to see that one of the 3 females in the third constituency,
is up there.
Safa Al-Hashim,
as well as in the first constituency.
has done very well.
Yes.
Very well.
She's in fifth, I think.
Yes, fifth position. Yes.
Masoom Al-Mubarak is not doing too badly either.
Yeah. But I mean, those two are
well known, very
well
respected
known.
figures.
They've won seats in previous parliaments. They're very, very outspoken members of the society. They do wonders for the country, and their service is endless. So
they're very well respected, and it shows from the voting.
Yeah, it is.
I hope this ratio continues as we go on. But as I was saying earlier, that we always talk about balance, about a society balance. We need to have more women as ministers, and we need to also have more women running for elections. Seeing only 8 out of 311 is very sad, in my opinion. To me, it is. In my own personal, humble opinion,
as a woman,
I was hoping to see many
well.
more, because we have progressed. We have come so far. Sometimes, even though I am as many of the officials and many of the professors, advisors are against the quota system, but sometimes really it just you know,
Well, I mean, there's a
if it
belief.
happened, I would accept. If it didn't, I would also accept.
There's a faith in the system that they don't need the quota system here in Kuwait. There's faith and belief in the current system.
It's kind of a last, you know.
It is. It's a plan B.
Last objective.
Basically, yeah.
The plan C, let's say. but you know, I mean, when you see 8 in Kuwait, a country that's so open and so free as Kuwait, only 8 candidates among 311. I mean, I have to start asking questions.
As a non-Kuwaiti female, I find it frustrating.
I count you as a Kuwaiti, by the way, Sarah. You've lived all your life in Kuwait, so you know more about Kuwaiti women than I do.
I've followed the political system here since they achieved suffrage back in 2005. Their plight was long and tiring, and you know they campaigned hard and they got what they campaigned for in the end. But they aren't utilizing it in the right way. It's like you're being trapped, and then they open the doors and they say you're free and you don't want to go out. You want to stay.
I would have liked
captive.
to see women get the suffrage by popular votes.
Yeah,
it had to take the intervention of His Highness the Emir then.
It was 23 votes against, as I recall. Yeah, I think it was 23 votes against. Which like 50 out of 50, that's a huge. It barely passed, you know,
yes.
with an outright majority.
Well, it was
But it wasn't the first time that it went through Parliament either, you know. So
yeah, it was refused many times.
Exactly.
It took the intervention.
Finally, it was passed, even though that slight majority let it pass. It passed. So now we're back to the
fifth constituency.
The first.
A huge number of votes. Adnan Sayyid Abdul Samad. Second place, Faisal Saud Duwaysan.
With 1,141.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Third place, Kamil Mahmoud Al-Awadi with 1,115. Fourth, Isa Ahmed Al-Kindiri with 1,092. In fifth, we have Abdullah Muhammad Al-Tureji with 1,085. In sixth place, we have Yusuf Sayyid Hassan Al-Zalzala with 1,059. In seventh, we have Saleh Ahmed Ashur with 968. In eighth, we have Mubarak Salim Al-Hurez with 866. In ninth, we have Abdullah Yusuf Al-Rumi with 816. In 10th, we have Abdul Hamid Abbas Dashti with 797. 11th, Ma'souma Saleh Mubarak with 687. And 12th, we have Muhammad Marwi Al-Hadiya with 663. 13th, Nawaf Suleiman Al-Fuzea with 561. 14th, we have Khalid Hussein Al-Shatti with 553. And in 15th place, we have Wasmi Khalid Al-Wasmi with 523. Now, the top 10 from this constituency and the other 4 constituencies will be elected. In the second constituency, we have Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanim with 1,064 in first place. In second place, we have Riyad Ahmed Al-Adsani with 1,015. In third, we have Adil Msaad Al-Khrafi with 981. In fourth, we have Rakan Yusuf Al-Nasf with 877. In fifth, we have Ali Fahd Al-Rashid, the former National Assembly Speaker, with 641. In sixth, we have Abdul Rahman Saleh Al-Jiran with 618. In seventh, we have Auda Al-Ruwai'i with, I missed that, sorry. In eighth, we have Hamad Saif Al-Harshani. In ninth, we have Muhammad Abdullah Al-Abdul Jadir with 444. In 10th, we have Khalaf Dmathir Al-Anizi with 439. In 11th, we have Khalil Ibrahim Al-Saleh with 433. In 12th, we have Adnan Ibrahim Al-Mutawwa with 411. 13, Ahmed Haji Lari with 360. 14, we have Abdul Rahman Muhammad Al-Nassar with 255. And in 14th place, we have Abdullah Mut'ab Al-Arada with 255. These are the top 14 in the second. And as for the third, in first place we have Faisal Fahad Al Shaya with 552. In second, Ali Saleh Al Amer with 549. In third, Rodan Abdulaziz Al Rodan with 461. In fourth, we have Khalil Abdullah Ali with 447. In fifth, we have Safa Abdul Rahman Al Hashim with 371. In sixth, Muhammad Nasir Al Jabri. And then in seventh, Jamal Hussein Al-Lamar with 307. In eighth, we have Basil Jasir Al-Jasir with 253. In ninth, Abdul Karim Abdullah Al-Kandiri with 236. In 10th, we have Saud Sahoud Al-Mtiri with 226. In 11th, Nabil Nouri Al-Fadl with 223. In 12th, Abdul Aziz Muhammad Al-Samhan with 220 votes. 13th, Yaqub Abdul Muhsin Al-Sani with 217. 14, Ali Abdullah Al-Khamis with 210. And finally, 15th, Osama Yusuf Al-Tahous with 205. We've received now the initial or the preliminary results of the ballots for the first, second, and third. Fourth, this is the first time we're receiving. In first, we have Saud Nashmi. In second, we have Muhammad Tana Al-Anizi. In second, also, we have Sultan Jad'an Al-Shimri. In third, we have Mansour Al-Dhafiri with 161. Fourth, Askar Al-Anizi with 136. In fifth, we have Muhammad Al-Rashidi with 133. In sixth, Khalid Rifa'i Al-Shlemi with 108. In seventh, Saad Ali Al-Rashidi with 98. In eighth, Mubarak Biniya Al-Araf with 87. In ninth, Hussein Al-Mtiri with 80. In 10th, Mubarak Al-Khrenij with 79. In 11th, Fawaz Al-Azmi with 78. 12th, we have Mubarak Al-Najada with 75. 13, Mafuz Al-Mtiri with 69. And 14th, Batil Al-Rashidi with 67. These are the first results we're getting from the 4th constituency, and here are the first from the 5th. Do you want to go, Mazen?
Go ahead. Yes, Muhammad Al-Hawayla in first with 81 votes, followed by Abdullah Al-Tamimi in second with 61, Saif Al-Azmi with 54 votes in third. In fourth place, Hamdan Al-Azmi with 48 votes. Madhi Al-Hajri in fifth with 46 votes. Talal Al-Ishili with 45 votes in sixth place. Faisal Al-Kandiri in sixth place also with 45 votes. In seventh, Sa'doun Al-Atabi with 35. Sami Al-Azmi in eighth with 29. Muhammad Al-Ajmi in ninth with 21 votes. Matar Al-Azmi in ninth with 21. Also in ninth, Nasir Al-Mirri with 21 votes. Ahmed Al-Azmi in 10th with 20 votes. Abdullah Al-Ajmi in 10th with 20 votes also. Fahad Al-Dosiri in 10th, also 20 votes, 3 tied now for that 10th spot. Those are our early results. As you can see, the numbers are quite low. Those numbers will keep coming in, and we'll keep relaying them to you, our listeners. Sarah, going back to that one question that you asked me about, what I want my children to learn when they go out to vote.
Just to remind our audience, we were speaking about the youth, how important role they play in Kuwait's democratic and voting and electoral process. And you shared your experience where you took your daughter,
my children, to the polling station.
And your son,
they were not allowed inside, but they were allowed close enough. I left them at the gates. One of the things I really wanted to teach them is that when we vote, or at least I do, I vote for the most qualified individual that is running for election.
Which is what you should do in practice.
Do not vote for affiliation, neither for tribal affiliation. I'm against that. I'm against voting for family affiliation, and I'm against voting for religious affiliation. These have nothing to do with our democracy. The things that have to do with our democracy is the person that can run his position the proper way, can benefit our society. The person that's most qualified is the person that we should vote for. The person that's going to achieve our aspirations, the aspirations of our country, and look after the future of our future generations. These are the people you should vote for.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this past month, you know, I hear people talking about the elections and stuff, and I hear some people, oh, you have to vote for so and so, you know, make sure you vote for so and so.
Why?
Like they just.
The big question is why.
Just I asked you.
Give me a, yes.
I asked you to.
No,
you know,
give me a reason why. If you have a good
exactly,
reason,
yeah, you need to
I may just do so. But if the reason is because he belongs to your tribe or to your family or to your religious beliefs, I'm sorry, or religious affiliations, I'm sorry, that just, we will never be a true democracy here in Kuwait until we are able to really
make
vote
our own
for the most
decisions,
appropriate, the most talented, the most qualified individual.
It needs
Only then will we be a true democracy.
It needs to be a well thought out
educational,
decision
by the way.
that you make, that you don't realize what the consequences or the impact is of this decision. You know,
That's
people
right.
need to realize that this is a power that you've got in your hands.
That's right.
This one name that you're writing
can change,
can do, you know, can
make
flip
changes,
everything to the
absolutely.
negative or bring the country to the positive, you know. So this is what people, I think, need to understand, is that it's for the greater good of the country. You know, it's not for the greater good of me as a person, or the greater good for my family or for my tribe or for my friends or my affiliates. It's the country in the end that has to pay the price.
That's right.
You know, and in turn you will too. You know, it's.
Again, I remain optimistic, and I always, you know, sometimes I feel frustrated. Sometimes I look and see people leaving. You know, it's sad to say, but some of my friends have decided to, you know, base themselves outside of Kuwait when they are so badly needed here in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Why are you guys leaving? We need you here. So, you know, we have to grow. I think our educational system has to do more to educate our future generations of the importance of our democracy. I'm optimistic because we are still a young democracy in relative terms. You know,
sure,
as compared to the...
the Kuwait just celebrated the 50th Golden Jubilee of the Constitution.
So, yes.
You know, which was
evolution.
Helped,
you know, I think we need probably quite a few more years before we are able to get away from this hole that we're in, where many people tend to vote, especially women, tend to vote for family affiliation, tend to vote for family, or tend to vote for tribe. We've heard it from many of the guests we had here on KTV2, where they say yes, women do tend to tend to be influenced by either a husband or the father or brother or a male, just a male in general. Here we are again in the first constituency with the latest figures coming in. Lots of numbers coming in from the first. Adnan Abdul Samad in first with 2,107 votes now. I'm not sure why they're so quick, the first constituency, but they're ahead of the rest.
Because it's the lesser number of voters than the fourth and the fifth.
Yusuf Zilzala in third with 1,553. Kamil Al-Awadi with 1,518. Isa Al-Kandiri with 1,454 in fifth. Sixth place, Abdullah Al-Trayji with 1,447. Salih Ahmed Ashur in seventh. In eighth place, Mubarak Al-Hrais. In ninth, Abdullah Rumi. In 10th, Masoom Al-Mubarak, hanging in there with 1,036 votes. Abdul Hamid Dashti in 11th. Muhammad al-Hadiya in 12th. In 13th, Nawaf al-Afzai with 769 votes. Wasmi al-Wasmi in 14th. And in 15th, Khalid al-Shatti with 711. And again, the top 10 will win seats in the National Assembly. Marzouk al-Ghanem continues to lead in 2nd constituency. Second place goes to Riyad al-Adsani with 1,313. Adil al-Khrafi with 1,227. And third. Rakan al-Nasf in 4th. Hamad al-Harshani in 5th with 901 votes. Oda al-Ruwai'i in 6th. Khalid al-Anazi in 7th. In 8th place, Ali Rashid. Abdurrahman al-Jiran in 9th. In 10th place, Salman al-Azmi with 701 votes. In 11th, Khalil al-Saleh with 624. In 12th, Adnan al-Mutawwa with 557.
In 13th, Muhammad Abdullah Al-Abd Al-Jadir with 547. In 14th, Ahmed Haji Lari with 515. And finally, in 15th place, Abdullah Mut'ab Al-Arada with 447. Moving now to the 3rd constituency. In 1st place, we have Ali Saleh Al-Amir with 948 votes. In 2nd place, Khalil Abdullah Ali with 926. In 3rd, we have Faisal Fahad Al-Shaya with 869. In 4th place, we have Rodan. Why? In 6th place, we have Safa Al-Hashim. In 7th, we have Muhammad Al-Jabri with 465. In 8th place, we have Nabil Nouri Al-Fadl with 441. In 9th place, we have Abdul Karim Al-Kandari with 430. In 10th, Ali Al-Khamis with 428. In 11th, we have Yaqub Al-Sani' with 391. In 12th place, we have Usama Al-Tahus with 372. In 13th place, we have Saud Al-Mtari with 357. In 14th, we have Abdullah Al-Ma'yuf with 356. And in 15th place, we have Abdul Aziz Al-Samhan with 353. Over to the 4th constituency where we received initial results earlier. In 1st place, we have Saud Al-Hurayji with 410. In 2nd place, Sultan Al-Shimri with 364. In 3rd, Muhammad Al-Anizi with 328. In 4th, Mansour Al-Dhafiri with 316. In 5th place, we have Askar Al-Anizi with 238. In 6th place, we have Mubarak Al-Khrenij with 214. In 7th, we have Khalid Al-Shlemi with 204. In 8th, Mubarak Al-Araf with 172. In 9th, Abdullah Al-Adwani with 159. In 10th, we have Mubarak Saleh Al-Najada with 157. In 11th, Saad Al-Rashidi with 152. In 12th, we have Fawaz Al-Azmi with 151. In 12th, Muhammad Al-Rashidi with 151 as well. And then in 13th place, we have Hussein Al-Mtiri with 141. And in 14th place, we have Mufuz Al-Mtiri with 138. The 4th constituency is the second largest with 25.85% of the total electorate. Now, in the 5th constituency, which is the largest, in first we have Talal Al-Sahli with 160. In second place, we have Muhammad Al-Huwaila. In third, we have Abdullah Al-Tamimi with 124. In fourth place, we have Faisal Al-Kandiri with 95. In fifth, Saadun Al-Ataibi with 81. In sixth, Madi Al-Hajri with 76. In seventh, Hamdan Al-Azmi with 65. In eighth place, we have Saif Al-Azmi with 61. In ninth, we have Yusuf Al-Utaibi with 57. In 10th place, we have Mahmoud Al-Hamdan with 50. In 11th, Muhammad Al-Ajmi with 48. In 12, we have Abdullah Al-Ajmi with 47. Also in 12, Nasser Al-Mirri with 47. In 13th place, we have Saud Al-Sbi'i with 44. And in 14th place, we have Sami Al-Azmi with 38. The 5th constituency, as I said, was the largest, and it constitutes 27.86% of the electoral vote. Okay. We will bring you more results soon, but for now we're going to take a short break and we'll be back right after that. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Wherever you may be joining us, we're coming to you live from the Ministry of Information studios in downtown Kuwait City. And we are covering the election day here in Kuwait, the 2013 National Assembly elections, and we're giving you live 24-hour coverage right here. We've began announcing the preliminary results for the candidates and the vote counting that has been taking place throughout the polling stations in Kuwait's 5 electoral constituencies. And we will continue to give you the results as we receive them from the committees, the subcommittees, and the constituencies. We were also discussing several issues pertaining to the society, the law, the election process in general, and we're also going to tackle why this could be of interest to the expatriate community as well in a short while. If we take a look at continue to look at the number of votes each candidate won. We're on the 4th constituency at the moment, and we've missed the first 10, but the 13th Fawaz Al-Azmi with 205. 14, Mufuz Al-Mtiri with 175, and in 15th place we have Slal Al-Harbi rather. And in the 5th constituency,
Muhammad Al-Sahli with 352 votes, Muhammad Al-Huwaila with 292 in second. In third, Abdullah Al-Tamimi with 242 votes, Madi Al-Hajri in fourth, Faisal Al-Kandiri in fifth, Saadun Al-Ataibi in sixth, Mahmoud Al-Hamdan in seventh, Hamdan Al-Azmi in eighth, Muhammad Al-Ajmi in eighth also, in ninth Yusuf Al-Ataibi, in 10th Abdullah Al-Ajmi, Saud Al-Sbi'i in 11th, Saif Al-Azmi in 12th.
In 13th, we have Hussein Al-Dosari with 89, and in 14th, we have Fahad Al-Dosari with 84. That was the 5th constituency, the largest one as well, which constitutes 27.86% of the electoral electorate rather. We've been discussing various topics, issues right here, especially since you joined. We've been on air since 8 a.m. this morning. Our team conducting interviews, trying to cover the elections as much as possible. We've also had our correspondents at the polling centers giving us live feedback on the updates that were happening as they happened.
For the first time, by the way, we're doing this. Is kind of new to the English news team.
It is, and I think it's a great addition.
It was a good achievement on the guys.
Yeah, it is, and they did such a good job. They've also had different tours. Various ministers have toured, NGOs, the Kuwait Transparency Society, several observers, and they've managed to do reports on these as well, which were very interesting. It's good to know that they kept up to date with everything that happened at the polling centers earlier today. The polling centers closed at 8 p.m. local time in Kuwait about 3 hours ago, and we've already received preliminary results.
Yes, those results will continue to come in all night long and all morning long, and if the normally we will get final results in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Probably around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, we're back to the first constituency now. Some more results. Adnan al-Samad with 3,049. In second, we have Faisal al-Duwaysan with 2,374. In third, we have Isa al-Kindiri with 2,337. In fourth, we have Yusuf al-Zalzala with 2,219. In fifth, we have Abdullah al-Treji with 2,197. In sixth, Kamil al-Awadi with 2,099. In seventh, Mubarak al-Haris with 2,015 in the first constituency. In eighth, we have Saleh Ashur with 1,975. In ninth place, we have Muhammad al-Hadiya with 1,923. In 10th, we have Abdul Hamid al-Dashti with 1,593. 11th place, we have Abdullah Yusuf al-Rumi with 1,502. In 12th, we have Ma'soom al-Mubarak with 1,431. In 13th, we have Wasmi al-Wasmi with 1,267. 14th, Nawaf al-Fazea with 1,100. And finally, in 15th place, we have Khalid al-Shatti with 1,025. As we mentioned, the top 10 will represent that district.
Second constituency now, Marzouk al-Ghanim in first with 1,878. In second, Riyadh al-Adsani in second with 1,550. Adil al-Khrafi in third with 1,455 votes. In fourth, Rakan al-Nasf with 1,452. In fifth, Khalaf al-Anizi with 1,121. In sixth place, Hamad al-Harshani with 1,091. In seventh, Ouda al-Ruwai'i with 997. In eighth place, Ali al-Rashid with 920 votes. Salman al-Azmi in ninth. In 10th, Abdurrahman al-Jiran
with 841.
In 11th, Khalil al-Saleh with 836. In 12th, Adnan al-Mutawwa with 803. In 13th, Ahmed Lari with 711. Muhammad Abdullah al-Jadir with 624 in 14th. And in 15th, Abdullah al-Arada with 527.
There's a lot of changes in that constituency since the last results that we saw. In the third constituency, we have Ali al-Amir with 1,795 in first place. In second place, we have in the third constituency, Khalil Ali with 1,477. Trailing in third, we have Faisal al-Shaya with 1,470. In fourth, Rodan al-Rodan with 1,124. In fifth, we have Jamal Lamar with 1,056. In sixth place, we have Safa Al Hashim with 1,011, the second female candidate in the list. In seventh, Abdul Karim Al Kindari with 747. In eighth place, we have Yaqub Al Sani' with 727. In ninth place, Nabil Al Fadl with 689. In 10th, Osama Al Tahous with 686. In 11th place, we have Ali Al Khamis with 681. In 12th place, in the third constituency, Abdulaziz Al Samhan with 653. In 13th, Abdullah Al Ma'youf with 631. In 14th, Ahmed Al Mlefi with 608. And finally, in 15th place, we have Muhammad Al Jabri with 593. The fourth constituency. In the fourth constituency, we have Saud Al Hariji with 770 votes. In second, Sultan Al Shimri with 616. In third place in the fourth constituency, Mansour Al Dhafiri with 536. In fourth place, we have Muhammad Al Anizi with 515. In fifth, Askar Al Anizi with 418. In sixth place, we have Mubarak Al Araf with 337. In seventh, Khalid Al Shlemi with 301. In eighth, Mubarak Al Khrenij with 295. In ninth place, we have Hussein Al Mtiri with 287. In 10th, Aslal Al Harbi. In 11th, Abdullah Al Adwani with 278. And in 12th, we have Fawaz Al Azmi with 268. 13th, Saad Al Rashidi with 245. 14th, Mubarak Al Najada with 232. And 15th, Majid Al Mtiri with 231. And the final constituency, the fifth one.
We have Abdullah Al Tamimi in first with 557. In second place, Talal Saad Al Shili with 517. Madi Al Hajri in third with 401 votes.
Yeah, they've jumped up now a lot since the last.
Getting more numbers in.
For
Muhammad Al Hawala in fourth with 398. In fifth place, Faisal Al Kindari with 348. In sixth place, Sadoun Al Atabi with 273. Hamdan Al Azmi with 243. In seventh. In eighth place, Mahmoud Al Hamdan with 219. In ninth, Saif Al Azmi with 192 votes. 10th, Ahmed Al Azmi with 191. Yusuf Al Atabi in 11th with 188. In 12th, Hussein Al Dosiri with 173 votes. Jabir Al Azmi in 13th with 157. Nasir Al Mirri with 156 in 14th. And in 15th place is Abdullah Al Ajmi with 153 votes.
Yeah, so
and that wraps up the latest figures that are coming to us from all the constituencies.
They're not like you can't say these will be the final
yet. Way
50.
too early. Way too early.
Yeah, way too early. It's just a rough idea of what's happening at the moment. Just to remind you, these are initial results that have been handed in by the subcommittees. You can
We're going to go for a break now, Sarah, and we'll be right back to continue our live coverage of the National Assembly elections for 2013. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Election Day here in Kuwait, in the state of Kuwait, wherever you may be watching us. We're coming to you live from the Ministry of Information Studios in downtown Kuwait City, and we're giving you 24-hour coverage of Election Day and the voting process here in Kuwait. We've been on air since 8 a.m. this morning. And we've already received initial results from the different polling centers who have started counting the votes. Balloting ended at 8 p.m. local time here in Kuwait, and the vote counting has continued since then. We've received initial results on all 5 of the electoral constituencies here in Kuwait. And
Sarah, one of the important things I think we should mention is that the vote counting process, the people that you see working there, stamping and closing the envelopes with the wax, the heated wax, all this is being conducted by judges.
Yeah.
And it's very important for our expat viewers to know that the court, the judges are independent from the government. In other words, the people who are counting the ballots, the people who are overseeing the electoral process, the people that you see now in the second camera on your monitor, those people are independent from the government. The government has no say in what they do or how they count. And this is one of the things that Kuwait prides itself upon, which is the independence of the judiciary. The justice system, the judges, the court is independent from the government of Kuwait. This is a very important fact that people should know.
One other point to mention, I mean, apart from all the security and preparation that have been carried out by the various ministries here in Kuwait, we have Arab and international, regional and local observers here monitoring the electoral process and the vote counting, as well as Kuwait Transparency Society. We're back now to more results from the first constituency. In first place, Adnan Abdessamd with 3,509 votes. In the first constituency. In second place, we have Mubarak Al-Haris with 2,728. In third, we have Faisal Al-Duwaisan with 2,712. Then comes Yusuf Al-Zalzala with 2,610 in fourth. Muhammad Al-Hadiya with 2,527 in fifth. In sixth, Isa Al-Kandiri with 2,473. In seventh, Saleh Ashur with 2,418. In eighth, Abdullah Al-Triji with 2,368. In ninth, Kamil Al-Awadi with 2,332. In 10th, Abdul Hamid Dashti with 1,784. In 11th, Abdullah Rumi with 1,685. Masoom Mubarak in 12th with 1,652 votes. And in 13th, Wasmi Al-Wasmi with 1,549. 14th, Khalid Al-Shatti with 1,193. And 15th, Nawaf Al-Fzia with 1,175. On to the second
Moving
constituency.
on to the second constituency, we will start with Marzouk Al-Ghanim, who is leading with 2,257 votes. Second, Riyadh Al-Atsani with 2,039. Rakan Al-Nasf and third with 1,790. Adil Al-Khrafi in fourth, 1,716. Ali Al-Rashid in fifth with 1,267. In sixth, Hamid Al-Harshani with 1,259. In seventh, Khalaf Al-Maythir Al-Anizi with 1,238 votes. Eighth, Abdurrahman Al-Jiran with 1,182 votes. Ninth, Awada Al-Ruwai'i with 1,127. Khalil Saleh in 10th with 1,068. In 11th, Adnan Al-Mutawwa with 1,062. In 12th, Ahmed Lari with 905. Salman Al-Azmi in 13th with 895. In 14th, Muhammad Al-Abdel Jadir with 782. And in 15th, Abdullah Al-Arada with 585.
The third constituency, Ali Al-Amir with 2,314 in first. In second, Faisal Al-Shaya with 1,792. Khalil Ali, Abdullah Ali in third with 1,776. In fourth, Rodhan Abdulaziz Al-Rodhan with 1,432. In fifth, Jamal Al-Amar with 1,275. Sixth, Safa Al-Hashim with 1,251. Abdul Karim Al-Kandiri in seventh with 948. Yaqub Al-Sana in eighth with 939 votes. In ninth, we have Muhammad Al-Jabri with 893. And in 10th, Usama Al-Tahuz with 879. In 11th, Abdullah Al-Ma'yuf. In 12th, Nabil Al-Fadl with 856. In 13th, Abdulaziz Al-Samhan with 814. In 14th place, we have Ali Al-Khamis with 786. And finally, in 15, Ahmed Al-Malefi with 763. And the top 10 from each constituency will win seats in the parliament. Do you want to go for the fourth?
I'll go for the fourth, Sarah. In first place, Saud Al-Hreji. In second, Sultan Al-Shimri with 878. Third, Mansour Al-Dhafiri with 737. In fourth, Muhammad Al-Anizi with 708. Askar Al-Anizi in fifth with 631. Majid Al-Mtairi in sixth with 517. Hussein Al-Mtairi in seventh with 464. Mubarak Al-Araf with 438 votes in eighth. In ninth, Khalid Al-Shlemi with 424. In 10th, Salal Al-Harbi with 413. Abdullah Al-Adwani in 11th with 391. Saad Al-Rashidi with 341 in 12th. And 13th, Mfawaz Al-Mtairi with 338. Mubarak Al-Khranij in 14th with 325. And Fawaz Al-Azmi in 15th with 323. Relatively low numbers compared to the first three constituencies.
It's very large. You still need some
Go
time.
ahead, Sarah.
In the fifth, in first we have Abdullah Tamimi. In second we have Talal Al-Shili with 735. In third, Madi Al-Hajri with 632. In fourth place we have Faisal Al-Kandiri with 575. In fifth place, Muhammad Al-Huwaila with 541. In sixth, Hamoud Al-Hamdan with 465. In seventh place, Saadoun Al-Atabi with 412. In eighth, we have Hamdan Al-Azmi with 372. Saif Al-Azmi in ninth with 312. In 10th place, we have Yusuf Al-Atabi with 296. And in 11th, Ahmed Al-Azmi with 293. 12th place, Hussein Al-Dosari with 268. 13th place, Nasser Al-Mirri with 254. 14th place, Mutlaq Al-Atabi with 246. And finally, Jaber Al-Azmi in 15th with 243. More results are expected again very shortly.
I was losing my voice there earlier. Had to take some medication for my slight asthma.
It happens.
That's life.
It happens, yeah. I mean, even to singers.
You sound like you need a drink of water as well.
It's been a long day for everybody.
Anyway, we are still covering, you're getting live coverage of the National Assembly elections for 2013 for the legislative, the 14th legislative term. Those results have been coming in since the past couple of hours. We will continue to get results up until the wee hours of tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. I think now our producer is asking us to take a short break. So Sarah, let's take a short break and we'll be right back with you for more coverage of the National Assembly elections. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to you. And we are back with live coverage of the National Assembly elections for 2013. As we've been covering the events of today with my colleague Sarah. Some of the important statements that were said today, I'd like to repeat one for you. For example, His Highness Sheikh Nasser Mohammed Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah affirmed today that His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jabr Sabah, is the guardian of the Constitution. He said this to reporters after casting his vote in Kuwait's general elections at the main electoral committee in Shamia area for the 40th legislative term. Quote, "We wish the best of luck for all for the service of Kuwait," he said. Over 300 of hopefuls, including 8 women in the 5 constituencies in Kuwait.
We have some results. Sorry to cut you.
Okay.
In the first constituency, we have Adnan Abd Samad with 4,395. In second, we have Faisal Duwaysan with 3,156. That's almost 1,000 difference. In third place, we have Yusuf Al-Zalzala with 3,070. In fourth, Saleh Ashur with 2,830. In fifth place, in the first constituency, we have Mubarak Al-Haris with 2,806. As for sixth place, Isa Al-Kindiri with 2,801 votes. Kamil Al-Awadi in seventh with 2,727. In eighth, Abdullah Al-Tureji with 2,702. In ninth, Muhammad Al-Hadiya with 2,616. 10th, we have Masuma Mubarak, who creeped up a bit with 2018. Yeah, very good. In 11th place, Abdul Hamid Dashti with 2,004 votes. In 12th place, Abdullah Rumi with 1,999 votes. 13, we have Khalid Al-Wasmi with 1,652. As for 14th place, Nawaf Al-Fazea with 1,355. And finally, in 15th, Khalid Al-Shatti with 1,312. The second constituency results are also updated. Would you like to go for it?
Let's go. Marzouk Al-Ghanem in first continues in strong first place with 2,490. Again, these are early results. Riyadh Ahmed Al-Adsani with 2,229. In third, Rakan Al-Nasf with 1,998 votes. In fourth, Adil Al-Khrafi with 1,806 votes. In fifth, Hamad Al-Harshani with 1,383. Go ahead, Sarah.
In sixth, Ali Fahd Al-Rashid with 1,369. In seventh, Abdul Rahman Al-Jiran with 1,306. Eighth place, Khalaf Al-Anizi with 1,291 votes. 9, we have Auda Al-Ruwai'i with 1,263. As for 10th place, Khalil Ibrahim Al-Saleh with 1,101. And in 11th place, we have, in the second constituency, we have
Adnan Al-Mutawwa.
Yeah, Adnan Al-Mutawwa with now 1,103 votes. As for 12th place, Ahmed Lari with 971. In 13th, Salman Al-Azmi with 913. In 14th place, we have Muhammad Al-Abd Al-Jadir. And in 15, Abdullah Al-Arada with 623. Third constituency tallies also in.
In the third constituency, we have Ali Al-Amir in first with 2,691. In second, Faisal Al-Shaya. Faisal Al-Shaya in second with 2,063. And third, Khalil Ali with 2,053. And fourth, Rodan Al-Rodan with 1,633. Safa Al-Hashim picks up the spot to fifth with 1,499. Jamal Al-Umar in sixth with 1,471. Yaqub Al-Sani' in seventh with 1,099.
In eighth, Abdul Karim Al-Kandiri with 1,086 in the third constituency. And in ninth, Osama Tahous with 1,010. 10th place, Nabil Al-Fadl with 992 votes. In 11th, Abdullah Al-Ma'youf with 975. In 12th place, Muhammad Al-Jabri with 952 total votes counted so far. In 13th place, Ali Al-Khamis with 913. In 14th place, Abdul Aziz Al-Samhan with 910. And finally, in the 15th position is Ahmed Al-Lefi with 877. Now, all top 10 from each district will win seats in the parliament. Moving to the 4th constituency.
In first place, we have Sultan Al-Shimmari with 1,191.
Now they're starting to
change
the numbers, increase.
Saud Al-Hreji with 1,186. In third, Muhammad Al-Anazi with 845. Mansour Al-Dhafiri in fourth with 832. Askar Al-Anazi in fifth with 775. Majid Al-Mtairi in sixth with 637. Hussein Al-Mtairi in seventh with 551. Khalid Al-Shlaimi in eighth with 534. Ninth, Salal Al-Harbi with 496. Saad Al-Rashidi with 486 in 10th. In 11th, Mubarak Al-Arf with 485. Mfawaz Al-Mtairi in 12th with 466. In 13th, Abdullah Al-Adwani with 455. In 14th, Fawaz Al-Azmi with 399. And in 15th spot, we have Mubarak Al-Khrainij with 393 votes. And now to the final constituency, the 5th.
The 5th, the final and the largest. In first place, Abdullah Tamimi with 998 total votes counted so far. In second position, Talal Sahili with 897. In third, Madi Al-Hajri with 883. In fourth, Muhammad Al-Huwaila with 799. In fifth, Faisal Al-Kindiri with 763. Hamdan Al-Azmi in sixth place with 587. In seventh, Sa'doun Al-Ataibi with 562. In eighth position, Hamoud Al-Hamdan with 541. In ninth, Saif Al-Azmi with 514. In 10th position, or 10th place, Ahmed Al-Azmi with 421 votes. 11th, Yusuf Al-Ataibi with 409. In 12th position, Jabir Al-Azmi with 383. And Mutlaq Al-Ataibi in 12th with 383 also. As for the 13th spot goes to Hussein Al-Dosari with 353, and 14th and final, Hamoud Al-Azmi with 334. Still, I mean, considering that the 5th constituency is the largest with 1,000, with 120,000, over 120,000.
I expect a lot of changes to take place in that constituency.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're still seeing the number one spot is only 1,000 votes, so.
Sarah, I'd like to go back to something I read out earlier, a statement made by His Highness Sheikh Nasser Muhammad Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah, when he said, or he affirmed today, that His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jabr Al-Sabah is the guardian of the Constitution. Now, what do I understand from that comment that he made? What's our statement that he made? What I understand that what we have witnessed in the past few years is some attempts to modify the Constitution. In my opinion, as a Kuwaiti citizen, the modifications that were being attempted were, in my opinion, my humble opinion, were diminishing the rights of Kuwaitis rather than increasing the rights of Kuwaitis. And I say that as my own, I may be wrong, I'm saying it as my personal opinion, And that is why I feel that His Highness Sheikh Nasser is saying this. The Emir is the guardian of the Constitution. We don't want people to meddle with the Constitution. We are happy with the way it is, and I hope it stays the way it is. It was well thought out by the fathers of the Constitution, and I see it as a Constitution that has been fair to Kuwaiti citizens of all beliefs, of all religious beliefs, and I hope it stays with us. It's been fair, it's been great, and we're very happy with it. Don't tamper with it.
I mean, coming up soon, we'll be celebrating the 51st anniversary of the enactment of the Kuwaiti Constitution, a very significant moment in Kuwait's history. Last year, we celebrated the Golden Jubilee, which was marked by a spectacular fireworks show that broke Guinness Book of World Records, among other things, among other achievements.
Put smiles on many young Kuwaiti youngsters.
Yeah, and you don't see much things like this.
It was an amazing photographical experience.
I agree.
Went out to take pictures. It was a chance in a lifetime.
And it's wonderful when the government takes the initiative to organize events like this for the whole society to come out and participate in,
and enjoy.
As they do every National Day and Liberation Day with their parades and things. But this was a very special occasion, and now almost a year on, it doesn't even feel as if a year has passed, but we'll be celebrating the 51st anniversary. And I think the Constitution is one that most Kuwaitis, or all Kuwaitis rather, take genuine pride in. So I think that every Kuwaiti respects the Constitution, and the high voter turnout today is a pure example of how much respect
I can't wait to see what the final turnout is going to be, but I believe it's going to be quite much higher than people had anticipated. Due to the elections falling in during the holy month of Ramadan. And in the middle of the hottest month of the year, which is July.
That's true.
July is the hottest month of the year by far.
It's certainly been a month that has tested people's strength and.
We mentioned, we talked a little bit about the expat population and how they can be affected by this election and by the candidates. Well, as you know, the National Assembly is made up of 50 members who represent the citizens of Kuwait. These 50 members, they are the legislative powers. They legislate laws that are then put up for the National Assembly, and with the government at the executive powers, some of these laws become in effect, affecting all citizens of Kuwait and all people who live in Kuwait. So in other words, some of these laws can affect the traffic situation in Kuwait.
Minor issues.
Some of these laws can affect the educational system in Kuwait, the health system in Kuwait, taxation. So even the expats are affected by the laws that are being legislated. Absolutely.
From A to Z, basically,
So, in other words, for our expat who is watching tonight, and you get to meet one of those National Assembly members, go out, reach out to that person and let him know what's on your mind. Why not? We would love to share. I would love to share or to see what the expat population has to say. We have more than 600,000 Indians living and working in Kuwait, for God's sake. They're a very important element of our society. We pride ourselves in, or the Indians pride themselves in the food that they prepare. We love the Indian food, the Indian culture, the music, the folklore, and it's very important to see what their view is towards the democratic process here in Kuwait, and how they would like to see certain laws that affect them, be changed or tinkered with, Are we?
Yeah, we're going to
looking
have
at
to
the third constituency now. Live feedback from the third constituency.
We're going to break for a report on the events that happened in the fifth constituency when the polls closed.
Fifth. So that's Salim
Al-Ajmi, our reporter from the fifth constituency. Watch this report. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after that with more results from all 5 constituencies. Stay tuned.
Elections Day is a day of joy for all Kuwaitis who took to the polls today in large numbers despite the hot weather and Ramadan fasting. The 5th constituency is the biggest electoral district in Kuwait with over 120,000 voters and more than 100 candidates, including 3 females. Turnout in the 5th constituency was extremely positive throughout the day, especially in the early and the last hours of voting. People of all ages and backgrounds went to the polling stations and stood in line despite the heat, as the temperature exceeded 46 degrees in the afternoon.
It is a great pleasure to see old men and women come here to vote despite these conditions. This affirms the Kuwaiti people's love, their passion and belief in democracy. Even the youth are participating today. They received us outside warmly and urged us to vote.
Early estimates suggest that this time turnout for the National Assembly elections will exceed or even double last elections.
Turnout was excellent. The number of voters exceeded last time, especially in the morning, when the doors first opened until 11 a.m. The number then dropped because of the heat, but it picked up again after iftar time.
Kuwaitis proved their belief in democracy and their right to vote by overcoming all obstacles.
To make it through is Khalid Al-Shatti with 1,494.
He's the 15th. He doesn't make it through. It's only the top 10.
Make it through to the first constituency tallies. Yeah, he didn't make it through.
In anyway, second constituency, we have Marzouk Al-Ghanem in first place with 3,003 votes. Riyadh Al-Hassani in second, 2,621. Rakan Al-Nasf in third with 2,273 votes. I'm not sure these are the final tabulations.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think so.
And fourth, Adil Al-Khrafi with 1987. They would have said something, I think.
We will make sure. We will
Adil
announce
Rashid in fifth with 1,690. In sixth place, Hamad Al-Harshani with 1,670 votes. In seventh, Auda Al-Ruwai'i with 1,599. In eighth, Khalaf Al-Anazi with 1,545. In ninth, Abdurrahman Al-Jiran with 1,468. In 10th, Khalil Saleh.
Yep, Khalil Saleh.
With 1,432. We have the luxury of a huge screen, 60-inch screen, I think.
It beats last election.
That's right. Adnan Ibrahim Mutawwa in 11th with 1,382. In 12th, Ahmed Lari with 1,226. In 13th, Salman Al-Azmi with 971 votes. In 14th place, we have Muhammad Al-Jadir.
Al-Abd Al-Jaber.
Al-Abd Al-Jadir. Muhammad Abdullah Al-Abd Al-Jadir with 948 votes. And finally, in 15th place, Ahmed Al-Hamad with 802 votes.
That's
and the top 10 will make it to the National Assembly.
Yep, that was the second constituency. And moving to the third quickly, in first place, Ali Al-Amir with 2,976. In second, Khalil Abdullah Ali with 2,818. In third, Faisal Fahad Al-Shaya with 2,226. In fourth place, Rodan Abdulaziz Al-Rodan with 1,787 votes. As for the fifth, still standing strong, Safa Al-Hashim with 1,770. In the third constituency, the second female in the whole race to make it so far. In 6th, Jamal Al-Amar with 1,749 votes. And in 7th place, Yaqub Al-Sana with 1,275. And trailing behind him in 8th place, Abdul Karim Al-Kandiri with 1,205. In 9th place, Nabil Al-Fadl with 1,190. And just making it in 10th place, Osama Al-Tahous with 1,144. Remember, these are not final results. In 11th, Muhammad Al-Jabri with 1,115. And in 12th place, Abdullah Al-Ma'youf with 1,049. 13th place, Ali Al-Khamis with 989. And 14th, we have Abdul Aziz Muhammad Al-Samhan coming up after him with 983. And finally, in 15th place, Ahmed Al-Mlefi with 976 total votes counted so far.
For the expat population, remember the winners, okay? Remember all these names. If you see them out on the street, have a word with them. Let them know what's on your mind. This is the 4th constituency now. In first place, Sultan Al-Shimmari with 1625. Yeah. Saud Al-Hreji with 1588 in second. In 3rd constituency, Mansour Al-Dhafiri with 1245. In 4th, Muhammad Al-Anazi with 1194. In 5th, Askar Al-Anazi with 1127. In 6th, it's distant 6th, a big difference. Majid Al-Mtayri with 1013. In 8th, also distant 8th, Hussein Al-Rashid, Sa'd Al-Rashidi with 949. And close 8th is Hussein Guyan Al-Mtayri with 945. And Abdullah Al-Adwani with 798 votes in 9th. And 10th, Mubarak Al-Araf with 766. The top 10 make it. The next 5 are waiting for the final tabulations to see if any changes occur. Khalid Shlemi with 759.
In 11th?
12th is Mubarak Al-Khrainij with 743. And 13th, Mfawaz Al-Mtayri with 689. Muhammad Al-Rashidi with 666 in 14th. And finally, in the 4th constituency, we have Faraz Al-Dehani with 664 votes in 15th place.
In the 5th constituency, we have coming up Abdullah Ibrahim Al-Tamimi with 2,159 votes. Talal Saad Al-Sahili with, in 3rd position. Faisal Muhammad Al-Kandiri with 1,624. In 4th position, Madi Al-Hajri with 1,478. In 5th place, Muhammad Al-Huwaila with 1,443 votes. In 6th place, coming up, is Hamdan Al-Azmi with 1,276. In 7th, Saif Al-Azmi with 1,090. In 8th position, Sa'doun Al-Utaybi, coming in the 5th constituency with 966 votes. And in 9th place, Mahmoud Al-Hamdan with 946. As for the 10th position, it goes to Jabir Al-Azmi with 869 so far. And then 11th place, Ahmad Al-Azmi with 853. In 12th, we have in the 5th constituency, Yusuf Al-Utaybi with 696. And 11 through to 15 are still waiting final results. In 13th place, Hamoud Al-Azmi with 654. In 14th place, Hani Shams with 643. He's a newcomer, this one.
And your name?
And in 15th, Mutlaq Al-Ataibi with 639 votes counted so far.
Quite a few young names on
newcomers, newcomers. Also, bear in mind that the 4th and the 5th constituency did not hand in results till a bit later than the
That's
1st,
right.
2nd, and
So
3rd.
we'll be getting more numbers in.
They are coming in a bit later on.
Okay, thank you for that, Sarah. We will be taking a short break and we will return very soon to continue with our live coverage right here from the KTV2 studios at the Ministry of Information. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back to the program, and we're coming to you live from the Ministry of Information in Kuwait City, and we're giving you live coverage of the election day, which is July 27th, 2013, here in Kuwait. As you can see, or if you've just tuned in, we've been giving the preliminary results from each of the 5 constituencies of Kuwait's electoral districts. The final results are not expected until another few hours, but this will just give you a rough idea of the main contenders in each of the 5 constituencies.
Absolutely.
And as you know, the National Assembly is made up of 50 members. Each constituency elects 10 candidates to fill in their seats in the 50-seat member parliament.
That's right.
So we can see roughly at the moment the top 15 contenders from each constituency. And
yes, we've been running down the names of the 15 top contenders from each constituency. The top 10 will make it, and of course the 5 names the 11th to 15th place will be dropped off. But we are putting the top 15 names just so that you know who is close to making it and who is not. Sarah, I'd like to read one of the statements made early today by the former National Assembly Speaker Jassim Al-Khrafi. In the statement, he hopes that the next parliament will be keen on achievements and security of the country. He also said he was speaking briefly to reporters after casting his own vote in the main committee at Shamia School today. Mr. Jassim Mohammed Al-Khrafi also hoped that the next parliament would complete its 4-year term. We haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah,
when has
I think 2003 was
it the last National Assembly that completed its term?
2003, hopefully. I'm not good with numbers, but
yes, that was a while back, 10 years ago.
Yes.
This is this is the objective now, is that we need stability. We need some kind of we need to give the members of the National Assembly a chance. The ministers who are chosen to run the different ministries of the state, we need to give them the full 4-year term in order to be able to then evaluate their performance.
I mean, even 4 years is not enough time to make a difference, but I mean, this is the
it's
law
better time
here.
than 6 months or
of
5
course,
months or
another big issue that is facing obstacles now because of the current situation in the country is the National Development Plan. Kuwait's National Development Plan. There's been a few
we have a special program on the radio. We do, actually.
Wheel of Progress.
The both of us on the news, from the news department.
Radio Kuwait, which is 93.3 FM. Locally.
Sure, we can advertise our program. Why not?
It's all part of the Ministry of Information umbrella, so
that's right.
We have every right to.
We speak about the development plan up to the year 2014.
Yeah, I mean, the development plan has become the main topic in Kuwait's government.
I feel it's hostage to the National Assembly. If the National Assembly is succeeding, the development plan will succeed. If the National Assembly is in turmoil and with changing the assembly every few months, then we will have an incomplete development plan.
And it's a shame because the government has injected billions of Kuwaiti dinars into various sectors of the economy so that they can implement this development plan that they set out, which was entitled Kuwait Vision up to the year 2035.
One of the main goals of His Highness the Emir is to make Kuwait a financial hub.
Yes.
I would also love to see Kuwait
Commercial and a
become
financial
a
hub.
true touristic
Yeah.
destination,
Well, I
such
mean-
as the United Arab Emirates, such as
Yeah.
Dubai, and even nowadays Qatar and
Yeah,
Bahrain.
they're
Why
starting
not?
to emerge as a
Why
big
not?
tourist destination,
we
especially
have
among
a-
foreigners. And Kuwait has always had this potential.
Absolutely.
And the development plan is just an extra benefit of that, you know.
You
It's
know, one
just-
of the things that expats tend to say when they speak about their experience of traveling in the Gulf states, that they tend to mix with the Kuwaiti nationals more than
More
in
than
any
any other
other
Gulf nationals.
Gulf GCC country. And, you know, that is why we see many expats that live in Kuwait for, let's say, 10 plus years. They don't want to return back. They
No.
want to stay in
Yeah.
Kuwait. And this is something that really I feel proud of when I see people, you know, expats from Germany, from England, from the States, these countries that we love to go to for vacations.
Yeah, they're coming
These
here.
people are living in Kuwait and they love Kuwait and they want to continue to live in Kuwait for the rest of their life.
I mean, that must fill you with a sense of pride, you know.
Of course, we have to
the
treat.
fact that
we have to
these
honor
developed
such people.
countries, these developed countries that have had years of like political experimentation and progress, want to come live in your country. You know, this is.
This says a lot. This speaks a
it
lot
does,
about
it
Kuwait,
does.
about the people of Kuwait, about how we earlier said the Kuwaitis are very well traveled, very well educated. They've been all over the world. They know how they're good traders, good bargainers. They're good businessmen, businesswomen. They have a long history of trade with the Far East, now the Western world, and really
Yeah, and I
I
mean,
feel
this
very
has paid
proud to
off,
be a
you know,
Kuwaiti when an expat comes and tells me that, Mazen, we love your country, we want to continue to work here, we
We're-
want to continue to live here.
We're coming up with some more
Okay.
results now
Here
from
we
the
go.
first constituency. Adnan Abdel Samad